The cynicism is.
This is What's Wild in New Hampshire by wildlife biologist Eric Orff. Hey, I'm at my secret fishing spot with John Magee from Fish and Game. We also have Dave Brooks from the Concord Monitor here. We're checking out the fish in this secret spot. Not so secret, but what did we find, John? What do you think's going on here?
Well, first of all, Eric did blindfold us before we came in here, so just for the record, I really don't know where we are. Well, we've electrofished 2 sites in the stream, one downstream.
And what does electrofishing means?
What's that?
What does electrofishing mean?
Oh, we use electricity to stun fish. Your job, viewers of Eric's Facebook page, after this is to Google electrofishing. In fact, do it in YouTube. And we use electricity to gently, if we can, stun fish, collect them, put them in our buckets. We can measure and weigh them. It's kind of like bringing them to the doctors, us going to the doctors for a health checkup.
But they don't shock you there.
Your doctor doesn't shock you? Man, I've been doing something wrong here. So, it's a standard survey technique that we use to determine what species are there, the health of the populations, and also at times what species we think should be there.
Okay.
Absent any other kind of impacts, especially ones from humans. And downstream, we caught lots of wild brook trout and some black-nosed dace. Upstream here, and we caught lots downstream of those. Up here, we found very few black-nosed dace, and that was the only species. It tells me, and this is a bit of speculation, but I think it's reasoned speculation.
Professional best guess.
Professional judgment. We, up here, the water temperature is too warm for brook trout. And we are literally, what, 100 feet upstream from the culvert where it goes under the road, and 100 feet downstream of that, there's...
And that culvert kind of blocks fish from coming up because it's too high.
Yeah, it's perched. It has a waterfall coming out of the outlet. It didn't look too high for brook trout to me because they're pretty good jumpers. They can't jump this high, but they can jump up to maybe 2 feet. That's pushing it.
Okay.
But they don't like to do that. But the culvert also, the water could be too shallow in there when the velocities, the force of the water is okay. And then at higher flows, the water depth might be good for them to get some propulsion with their tails, because that's what they use to really swim through culverts and things. But it's possible the velocity is too high. Think about being in a wind tunnel. And then someone puts you in a wind tunnel with a gentle breeze and it's flat, you can do it. And as they start to increase it, all of a sudden that gentle breeze and the steepness is too much for you. And then if you do that and increase the breeze, it might be too much for you even when it's flat.
So the reason I asked John to come here, and actually we're going to do this last year, but we're getting to it this year, is living here in town of Epsom. I have fished this brook for some of the 43 years I've lived here, and this stretch of brook was loaded with brook trout, and wild brook trout, as the stream below the culvert was this morning. But it's dried up 3 times in the last 6 years, and it looks like we're heading for another drying this year, unless we get the July deluge that we had last year. So, you know, when this brook dries up 3 times now in the last 6 years, so you could walk this stretch of brook in sneakers and not get your feet wet. It was completely dried. Fish need water.
I've been doing this for a long time, and you're right, Eric. We've learned as scientists, fish need water to live.
So,
but that's a good point, all joking aside. It's possible that when this dries up, it dries up so much that the brook trout don't have enough water depth and maybe not enough cool water in the summer. But the black-nosed dace, because they're so much smaller and they can survive in such little water depth and flow, and they can survive higher water temperatures, that they may have been able to persist what appears to be at a very, very low level. My guess is another drought or 2, and it might knock them out too.
Wow.
Basically have killed off the fish.
They're all small,
Where, you know, not that long ago, in your lifetime, you were catching wild brook trout.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
So something's changed.
Yeah, something's changed. So our warming climate change is this stretch of the brook, it seemed to have eliminated the wild trout. And we searched and we found none. And I can attest to the fact that they were common here. So yes, we need to all double our efforts down to work on it. Get our Senator Hassett and Shaheen and our representatives to get something done. Thank you very much, John. This is wildlife biologist Eric Orff for What's Wild in New Hampshire.